Konnichiwa minasan, welcome back to the channel. Dante Gunpla here. This video will be part 1 out of the part 5 videos that I'm going to do for the Supernova range or the Endless Waltz, Gundam Endless Waltz series. Now the first kit that I built is actually the heavy arms, so I have about 4 more to go, which is the wing. We have Ultron here, and we have Sandrock plus Dashai, which is somewhere I can't remember where I put the box, but it's somewhere around here. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about the build process, how's the plastic like, how easy for you to do it. Second of all, I'm going to talk about the articulation, the function of the kit as well, what does it come with, and lastly, whether or not you should buy it. First of all, I want to talk about the runners. This kit has about 32 runners in totality, and the thing about the runners is that they do give you a lot of options in terms of the colors of the kit itself. So for those of you who do out of the box, you can play around with the color scheme. You know, you could change the colors as well. The outer armor does comes in red, orange, and white, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So yeah, so that's the runners bit. The quality of the runners is a bit hard, a little bit dense, I would say. So what this means is that be careful if you're using a god hand nipper. Don't just straight away cut it off from the runners. Use another nippers to cut it off so that it takes care of your god hand. The runners, most of the runners of the outer armor parts or pieces is undergated, which is a good thing. So another good thing for out of the box builders is that you don't have to worry about marks that you leave at the armor, so it's not so apparent. It also gives you a little bit more easier work to do, so that you don't have to sand it off. So you just nip it off, you just sand it a little bit down, then you could easily fit it in. Now, talking about fitting, with the Supernova kits, third-party kits, it is a little bit tight when you try to fit in. So what it means is that the female pack and the male pack doesn't go in as easily as possible. So hence these Supernova kits are famous for sore fingers, bruised fingertips. You can actually see in the comment from various builders, they do complain about it not being easy to fit in. But that said, I have a tip. So please, by all means, go out to your hardware store. Do get this thing called silicone grease. Now, silicone grease is meant for plastics, so you use it for cleaning for airbrushes as well. So what I normally do is that if your airbrush gets stuck, you could just put it disassemble it, and you could just coat it with the silicone grease, so it makes it easier for airbrushing. That said, it also makes it easier for you to put in to fit it in together. Just apply a little bit on the male packs so that you could fit it in easily. Another thing also I wanted to highlight is that if you just look at the orange parts that is within the armor itself, those parts are one of the hardest to fit in because they are not bandai. So bandai has perfected the art of model kits where you can just snap it easily and it goes in well. Unfortunately for this kit, it's a bit tough. So if you ever do test fitting, do be careful of the orange parts where it fits in together. Okay, like for me, I'll just put a little bit of silicone grease and it's able to just boop, snap it in. Another thing that I want to talk about as well is that while building this kit, it does come with tons and tons of spare parts. So for those of you who likes to customize kits, fantastic. For those of you like me who has tons of spare parts, has no time to customize, I just find it it's a little bit too much of a spare part. I believe they could have done that to do something else. For example, I don't know, just give it a little bit more detail in the outer armor, especially the leg portion. But then again, this kit is old. I mean, the movie was released in 1997, so I assume the kit will come out a year later or a year before. So that's it. This kit is going to be horrible in articulation, which I'm going to talk a little bit more later on. Yeah, so in terms of the build process wise, I wanted to talk a little bit more on the paint this time around. I know a few of you guys asked me like what are the paints that I use, how do I do it. It's pretty simple. Priming is important. I've been reading a lot of groups lately, and they talk about should I prime, should I not prime. Well, to me, priming is essential, especially doing a customized work or customized for customers. What it does is priming does two functions. First of all, it helps the paint to stick better, so when you finish your paint job, it looks much more smoother, much more cleaner. You don't have to apply multiple layers of paint. Some builders, what they do is that they prime the entire kit first, just to see whether if there's any imperfection on the surface. So for those people who does customized work, do scribing, what they do is they scribe everything, they clean up the parts, then they go to priming stage. So after the priming stage, they assemble everything, and then they get to see which part is not smooth, not even. They can see the seam lines. So those are the two functions of priming. But to me, I don't do that. I think it's a little bit too much of an effort, but that's it. Priming is important to me. So I know some of the builders, they just go straight to the colors, then they apply multiple layers. You can do that, it's not an issue. Gunpla is freedom anyway. To me, what I did is prime the first layer, then moving on to the second layer, which is the color of your choice. To me, whenever you want to do a lighter tone or lighter shade, always go with grey. I'm not so fond of white primers because I can't really see, after you prime, you can't really see any, you can't even see the surface and everything, so I prefer priming grey. So if you want to, so for example, like the darker parts, I'll prime black, because a lot of people prime black. Is one of the reasons is that it's easier for them to layer on the darker shades of colors. Now, talking about colors as well, you could change the base of the color. If you get, for example, if I use green, this is a Gaia light green, and if I were to do a black base, prime the kit black, and then put in the light green, it will come out a little bit of a darker green. So there's a lot of ways you can get the colors of the kit. This is really up to you. Just my rule of thumb is that if you're going for a lighter color, for example like the green, like the orange, like the blue, go with a gray surfacer, or any gray surfacer would do. Then if you want to do something darker, you can just prime black. You can also apply a lighter shades of for example green, then you get a darker green. So yeah, so that's the green that I use. For the orange portion, I actually mixed the paint up. I actually took finisher pure orange and I added a little bit of medium yellow. The reason why is the pure orange was a little bit too darker orange, so I wanted to make it a bit more lighter so that the orange really pops out a little bit better. Then moving on to the gray, this dark gray is actually dark gray, it's not black. The reason why I did that is so that it doesn't look too, I mean it goes well with the green, hence that's why I use a darker gray and I use a lighter gray to make it stand out. Then I also use the finisher red gold as well as Modo Star Aluminium. Star Aluminium is very much close to your Tamiya iron, I would call it. That kind of silver is very much nicer to put on like real guns as well. So that gives it a little bit less of a shine as well. If you buy your typical silver, it does stand out a little bit more brighter. I wanted to use a darker, more like a real gun kind of silver, hence that's why I use the Moto Star aluminum. Yeah, so to wrap this up, in terms of my paint job, I actually flat coat everything. So there was a few of my followers actually asking me what's the difference between gloss and flat. Obviously gloss is to make the kit much more shinier. Then you got your flat or matte. There is difference between those two. I personally don't see the difference. Flat is matte, whatever you want to call it. To me, flat and matte is the same. All you need to do is, depending on the amount of layers of clear flat that you put on. Yeah, so so I wanted to do a little bit more flat color base because Heavy Arms is more like a tactical mobile suit because of his real guns, and the green does make the kit looks much more army like military type of finish. So yeah, so hence that's why I did. I actually recommend this color tone to my customer and he really likes it, so I'm very happy that the color didn't go way off as I thought I would have imagined. So moving on to the articulation and the function of the kit. This kit inner frame was built I believe back in the 90s, so what Supernova does is it carries the same inner frame across all the model kits. So same goes for Bandai. They do carry the same inner frame of the kit. So if you build a wing, if you build, for example, the Death Shy or even Ultron, it's going to be the same inner frame. Maybe one or two parts will be different, but to fit in the equipments, but that's it. It's still the base of it is still the same inner frame. So it does have poor articulation, I would say, but back then I believe it was good, but now it's compared to like your Barbatos, compared to your Axia, definitely this kit will be at the bottom. The kit has many equipments, I would say. So while building the kit itself, you'll be building a lot of there'll be a lot of repetition. So for example, like the rail guns, you'll be building it multiple times. There'll be a lot of parts that's same. It does get boring, but that's it. It's the final outcome is still worth it. So talking about the equipments, it does stop the body, I mean the hands, especially the arm portion, because of his side equipments, the missile carrier that he carries, so that does restrict his movement a little bit, but that's it. He still can carry the rail gun and move a little bit more, so that's a plus point. I actually open up just to show you guys the difference half part where the missiles that they'll be put into place. So it's pretty cool. You have tons of missiles on the equipment itself, so that gives the kit a little bit more badass, I would say. From the side skirting all the way to the knee area, you'll be having a lot of the missile portion there. So that said, there will be a lot of parts for you guys to actually build it, sand it, cut it off, and all. Just a note, I did have some issues opening up the side missile carrier. With this kit is it's a bit tight. How to say, it will be a little bit hard for you to just pry open with your hands. So please, if you ever do a paint job, use a toothpick. Now the toothpick doesn't chip off the paint, so it's sharp enough for you to just pop it up. So another tip, toothpick. Yeah, so all in all, the backpack is to me a little bit another downside will be a little bit flimsy because it's using the ABS plastic. So just be careful not to just keep taking it out. Once you put it in, just leave it there. It's quite flexible for his outer rail guns to move about, but because the kit itself, the plastic itself is a little bit it's a little bit tight, so do be careful. I think I've seen a few builders who actually broke part of the joints of while trying to pose the real gun. So just be careful, like I mentioned, just put a little bit of silicone grease or Vaseline if you want, so it'll be easier for you to pose it. So do be careful when putting in the joints. It does get really tight, and because it's so tight it tends to break off. It is plastic after all, so yeah, so be careful with those parts. Well, so another thing would be, I find it weird because the amount of runners they give, a lot of spare part they give, they didn't give one for the fin. So the fin has only one, the head fin. So be careful, it can be a little bit how to say, fragile, so don't break it. If you break it, you have to glue it and then you have to restart over again. But that's it, just do be careful of the fins. So I'm gonna be very careful when I pack this guy up to send it to my customers. So to wrap it up all, I'm going to start with the box art, so you guys know how to identify these heavy arms from the Supernova kits. Just look at this color scheme, see the porcupine, and this is definitely the kit itself. It comes with a poorly done manual. The reason why I say poorly done is that the image drawn here is not as accurate as your typical Bandai kits manual, so there's some how I say, common sense required for you to build it as well. The reason why I say is because that the image of the piece is different compared to the piece itself. Yes, I know it's a drawing, but they do draw it very badly compared to like the Bandai. Bandai did perfect their design work and their instructions, so the instructions are pretty much kind of bad. You gotta use a little bit of your common sense, do some trial and error, then you get there. Another thing would be, definitely it comes with a water slide decal, so that's a good thing, but unfortunately because of the poor design, this is what you're gonna get. Just numbers without the logo, you don't know where to place it, so it's not as accurate as Bandai's drawing, I would say. Yeah, so nothing is, it does come with an awesome base right here. Even my Dashai here does come with the base. Good thing is it's actually painted or digitalized laser onto the base itself, so it gives it a little bit of a premium kind of look. So you'll definitely stand out on your shelf compared to the Bandai kits. So I actually put my own Dashai Supernova here, just right next to it. The good thing about this kit is the brand itself, as I mentioned, it does come with a lot of high details. Each pieces does come with a lot of other pieces for you to change the color, so which is a good thing. It gives a little bit more separation, more detail, gives the kit a little bit more wow factor compared to the Bandai kits. So that's it. Price. Now for price, I would say that this kit costs about less than 50 USD, so in Malaysia it's about 180, 190 there. So with what you get, with the amount of pieces you have, the high detail, I think it's pretty worth it. Though the build process will definitely disappoint you, but where's the challenge in this class, right? I mean, this hobby is challenging. It's supposed to challenge you as a builder, so yeah. For a Bandai kit, I think it costs about double the amount. So like if you pay like 100 USD, you get the additional parts. But for this Supernova kits, you pay a decent amount of money just to get the high detail and everything. So yeah, I mean, all in all, the kit itself does give you a lot of problems, but so for those of you who are new to the hobby, you may want to test it out a little bit more, build a little bit more other Bandai kits before moving on to third-party kits. If not, you'll just get disappointed, you'll struggle, and you will definitely lose interest in the hobby. Yeah. So with that, this is actually part 1 of the Supernova range, the Gundam Endless Sport. I have the next one, which is, oh my god, this kit right here. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna build in the next video. So do follow me on my Instagram, Dante Gunpla. Do follow me on Facebook. I also have a page there. I am a little bit more active on my IG, so I do post up all my WIPs on my Insta stories. So do check it out. And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment guys, what do you think about third party kits, what do you think about the Supernova range, do you like it, do you have all your collection, just leave a comment down below and I'll reply. And yeah, and I'll see you in the next video. So ja, mata ne.